I got my handy dandy phone. Can't see it, but there's my timer. Got my timer on because I suck at keeping up with time. So I had to put the timer on. All right, so here we go. Go to the handy dandy homework. Where's my homework page? There we go. There we go. And we got all kinds of questions to go over. I'm going to try to get them in some kind of order, but I tried to do it by subject, and it wouldn't do it. Did it better, but it didn't put it in order. So let's go with 1.1, 7, and 8 down here. So 1.17, and I don't know which calculus it comes from. It may come from this class. It may come from the other class, but we'll just do it. I have no idea. I haven't looked at these. So, I'm going to be honest with you. If I see a problem and I don't know how to do it, I will tell you that. I'm not going to try to BS my way through it. But usually in calculus, they do throw you a curveball every now and then. All right, this is algebra, so this is good. This is a good start. So this is 1.1. Let me show you how I do this. This is 1.1, number 7 in the book. If you go to 1.1 homework in the book, it's number 7. And then online is question number 3. So what I do is I write down for the recording as well as you, I go to the handy dandy whiteboard and I put in the top corner 1.1 number 7/3. And that 7 stands for the book homework question, and 3 stands for your online homework. So write down the question. And I done, there it is, it's coming up. F of x is equal to 4x to the 4th minus 14. Okay, and we're going to talk about, I'm going to try to kill 2 birds or 3 birds with 1 stone. Not only am I going to do the domain and the range, but we're also going to talk about graphing it. We're going to talk about what it looks like to kind of give you a little bit more than just one dimension on the review question. I'm going to try to get as much as I can in the review on this one question. So let's do that. Now, first of all, the family of graphs tells us that this is a parabola with a flat bottom because it's x to the 4th. We know it's that. X to the 4th is an even. So we know it is symmetrical around the y-axis. You need to write all that down if you've forgotten it. It's an even function. So it is symmetrical around the y-axis and it's flattened on the bottom. The higher this is as far as an even exponent, the more flat the u will be. Okay. And I don't mean to fuss at y'all, but if you are moving around a lot with your microphone and everything, or if you got dogs or babies or whatever, or abusive boyfriend in the background, please mute your, do jigger. I appreciate it. We know that the y-intercept is 14, so it will be down here a little bit. And we can't do the quadratic unless we use substitution, and I'm not doing that. I'm not talking about quadratic. The complete and the square, so I'm not even going to do that. So the only thing review-wise is graphing with a graphing calculator, being able to find increasing and decreasing values, and the domain and range. That's the three things that I will go over with this question, and I hope I cover what they are asking for. I think they asked for the domain and range. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to graph it. We're going to go to our handy dandy calculator. And I made them buy this for me last semester. So y'all should feel, privileged. If it ever comes up, dadgum. Mr. Smith just popped in. I don't know what's going on with that. One of y'all will pop out, and another person will pop in, and I only got 9 people here. So I don't know how that happens. I don't know if people just come into the classroom and then they pop in the video or what. I don't know. It's them damn Russians is what it is. All right, so f of x, y is equal to 4x to the 4th, 4x to the 4th, minus 14. And graph, and we can't see it, so we're going to hit zoom standard 6. Let me turn off the stat plot. I do have other classes. The world does not revolve around y'all, okay? I do have other classes. There we go. And let's go with zoom fit. Zoom fit, I think, is 0. There we go. So there's your graph. So we know that it's decreasing from negative infinity to 0 and increasing from 0 to infinity. And I'm going to just draw a sketch of it right quick. Actually, I want to hit window. And I'm going to put in, okay, negative 10. That's good. But I'm going to type in negative 14 because I want to show you the y-intercept is at negative. Let's go with negative 20 right here. There we go. Well, it was supposed to do better than that. Let me try it one more time. Well, why didn't it take it? Negative 20. Oh, me. I'm using my keyboard. Don't use your keyboard because if you use your keyboard, it'll screw it up. Okay, well, it's not showing it for some reason, and I don't know why. Let me go with negative 40. Okay, I don't know why it's not showing it. But anyway, it's crossing at negative 14. So I'm going to put a negative 14 right here. And there we go. All right, here we go. There we go. All right, so I know my domain is all real numbers because it's not a fraction or a radical. And my range is negative 14 to infinity. And that's pretty much it. Is this a test question? Yes. And I could ask you all of these things. I could ask you to graph it. I could ask you the increase and the decrease in values. And I could ask you the domain and the range. Good test question. If you can't do it, then just consider yourself a failure at life. And you should probably just give it up and get you a cardboard box and live in a ditch. Okay? I actually had somebody complain to me that I was making fun of the homeless.
No sense of humor. No.
I have a good friend Was over in Saudi with him, veteran. Got hooked on meth, homeless. I know at least 4 or 5 of us have tried to help him out. And I don't mean with a $20 bill. I mean, we've tried to help him out. I want to say probably thousands. Each one of us has given thousands. Chose to, go back to the streets. Can't do anything. So I'm sorry. Anyway, I don't make fun of the homeless. I was just making fun of just giving you a little bit of, smile, sense of humor, a little bit. Maybe dark, but I got a dark sense of humor.
So
I like to watch drunk people getting tased on YouTube. That makes me laugh. All right. Anybody have a question on this one?
No.
All right. Let's move on. Nobody's going to ask a question, so I assume everybody understands it. That, I want water and a piece of lettuce. That crap ain't going to last very long. You got to tell me. All right, so I'm going to delete that one. I just did that one. All right, the next one, I saw a number 8 somewhere. There it is. This is from the other class. This is 140003. Yeah. Number 8, number 4. So I'm going to end up doing all between the 2 classes. I'm going to end up doing all your homework. 1.18/4. This is the next question. I'm going to leave this one up because that's a section 3 question. So I'm not going to delete it. Determine an appropriate domain of the function. Identify the independent and dependent variables. A stone is thrown vertically upward from the ground. And look what I drew just as soon. I drew that right there. Now, if you don't know what a picture of a stone thrown in the air looks like, you don't need to be in calculus. All right? There's a stone being thrown in the air, a baseball, a bullet, a cannonball, whatever you want. It's called angle of trajectory. The trajectory of a projectile is parabolic. What goes up must what?
Come down.
Come down.
Come
Your
down.
parents did good. Some of y'all are going, what's he talking about? All right. A stone is thrown vertically upward from the ground at a speed of 60 meters per second at time 0. There's 0 right there. And distance above the ground is approximated by the function f of x is equal to negative 5x squared plus 60x. Can we spend about the whole class on this problem? Yes. I could wrap up just about all the review on this problem because I could do all kinds of things with this. So we're going to do everything with this problem, and then we'll look at what the question's asking. First of all, I did graph it. How did I know it's concave down? Somebody tell me.
Because like you said, if some goes up, it has to come down.
Well, that's true, but something in the equation told me that. Somebody look at the equation. What told me? What?
The negative in front of the 5x squared.
The negative, yes. So make a mental note. Negative A tells you it's concave down. All right, I'm going to use completing the square here because I have nothing. They have given me nothing to deal with. Yes, I threw the ball 60 miles an hour or 60 meters per second or whatever, but that doesn't tell me squat. All right, because they're going to ask for where it lands. They're going to ask for the highest point. They're going to ask for all that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to do everything as part of the review to kind of put all the review together for you. So here we go. Complete the square. Negative 5x squared plus 60x plus blank is equal to 0 plus blank. Okay, now if you don't know how to do complete the square, then you need to send me some questions about it, or you need to tell me, and then I'll, We'll do it outside of class, or we'll go over some homework questions if there's some in there that say complete the square. I'm going to factor out that 5. Negative 5. X squared, I have no idea, plus 12 maybe. That'd be a negative 12. Equals 0 plus negative 5 times blank. Whenever you factor something out of completing the square, you always multiply it by the right side blank. Whatever you factor out, you always multiply by that right side blank. Half of 12 is 6. 6 squared is 36. Should this be knocking some cobwebs loose? Yes. Negative 5, this is shortcut number 2. X minus 6, quantity squared, is equal to, 5 times 36 is 150 plus 30 is 180. Negative 180, somebody check my math, please. And this right here, we can do 2 things. We can find our vertex, which is 6, 180. And we can solve for x, find our x-intercepts. So divide by negative 5. X minus 6, quantity squared, is equal to 5 will go into 18 3 times, right? 3 times, that's 30, be 6. Somebody check my math there. And then take the square root of both sides. X plus minus 6 is equal to positive or negative 6. So one x-intercept is at 0. The other intercept is at what? 12?
Yes, sir.
So we know this is 12, and we know the vertex is 6. At 6 seconds or at 6 minutes or whatever the time is, you got a top height of 180 feet. Should everybody in this class know how to do this? Yes. Is there some cobwebs? Maybe, but hopefully I knocked some cobwebs loose here. If you are saying to yourself, I have no idea what he just did, then there may be a little bit of a problem because you should have seen this before calculus.
So
Okay.
basically, after you found the square, you found the vertex.
Yeah, vertex is over here. You take the opposite of this, the opposite of that. That's your vertex.
And you
then
use the
solve
formula.
over here.
What's the name of that formula?
What formula? Where?
Did you not, or did you just solve the left side?
Completing the
solved
square.
Okay.
Completing the square is all this up here. Okay, Mr. Pagella probably is not the only one that's got some cobwebs. Go ahead and say something.
Can you do another one of those,
I
please?
sure will. Let me see if there's another one in the homework, okay? If not, I'll make up one. And somebody else said something. I heard somebody else say something. Did somebody else need to say something?
I have a question. So the equation next to 6, 180, what is that called?
I'm sorry, you said what now?
The equation next to 6, 180, what is that?
This right here?
Above?
Right here?
Yep, all that lower.
This is called vertex form. It's from completing the square. You have to do completing the square to get to vertex form.
Okay, and then below that, we're again?
Right here?
Yes, all that.
That's just solving for x.
Okay, all right.
Solving for x. I don't know why when somebody speaks, it's supposed to light up your name, and I don't know why it didn't do that. I don't know who that was that was just talking, but hopefully that answered your question. Usually it lights up your edges, your border, but it didn't do that. Okay, so let's do it. Let's look at another one. Let's see what the let's see what the question's asking. The appropriate domain is from 0 to 12. From 0 to 12. Why do I say it's from 0 to 12? Somebody tell me. Because at 0 seconds, you're at 0 feet. And right here, you're at 12 feet or whatever. At 6 seconds, you're at 180 feet. Here, you're hitting the ground. 0, 12 or 12, 0. It's at 0 feet vertically. You're on the ground. So somebody tell me, what's the only X values you can use? Between what? Between 0 and what?
12.
12. And that renders the domain tells you that your range can only go from 0 to what?
180.
180. So your domain is from 0 to 12, and your range is from 0 to 180. Remember, you can't have cherry ice unless you pour in cherry Kool-Aid. Your domain dictates your what? Your range. Some people make it through 12 years of school and never knew that.
I solved that one differently, but I still got the right answer.
Okay, I don't know. Now, if they're asking what the domain of the function is, the domain of the function is all real numbers. I thought they were asking of the question, the word problem. So all real numbers is that must be what they want. Negative, infinity. For this function right here, you can plug in any number you want. Negative, infinity. Where is infinity? Negative, infinity. And it's not working. Hold on a minute. I've got it pulled up. Oh, there we go. Negative, infinity. I'm about ready to quit. Negative, infinity, comma, positive, infinity. That would be the domain of this function. But the context of the question, the domain is from 0 to 12. So they must be asking for the domain of the function. Did I not put in 0, 12?
You left the parenthesis in it instead of doing the square.
I thought I did. I thought I did brackets. I'm sorry. Okay, so I was right the first time. The independent variable is what? Time or distance?
It's time.
Time. And the dependent variable, wait a minute. Yeah, is distance, is vertical distance. And that's it. So that's it. They didn't ask you for the vertex. So you didn't have to do all of this. You just have to just look at the problem, I guess. Well, no, you have to do it. You have to find the x-intercepts because that's where the 12 comes from. I'll tell you what, let's do it again. I'm going to hit similar question, and you do this one. I know there's a diva in the group, so I'm going to blow it up because the diva is going to say, I can't see it. There you go. Divas are good when they want to be. And guys are not divas. Okay, so just going to make sure you understand that. Miss Hightower, how are you today? I like that. I like that background. What the heck is that?
I'm great. So yesterday you saw a naked tapestry, but I didn't like how naked it was, so I went and found some old pictures that I had printed out.
Okay, Miss Hightower, that looks like some kind of homicidal chart.
No, most of it's me.
Okay, well, you're good to go then, Miss Hightower.
Don't try me like that.
I'm sorry. Hey, I got to make somebody laugh, okay? Because this class is a little bit dead. I'm trying. Miss Hightower, you can help me out though, if you want to.
I mean, I laugh regardless. If I keep my mic on, that's all y'all are gonna hear.
Well, at least you talk. I can tell you right now, Miss Hightower, she's not one of those. Yes, I'd like a glass of water and a lemon, please. No, she's not one of those. I can tell you that right now.
Actually, I went out like 2 days ago with my dude or whatever. He was eating and talking, and I was eating and talking, but I looked down at my plate and it's empty. Like I only got sauce and a couple crumbs, and he's halfway done with his food, and I was like, should I leave?
That's funny. You should have ordered a lemon. That's what you should have ordered. Yes, I'd like to have a glass of water with a lemon, please.
Only thing you get right when you make that little joke is I get water every time, only because soda messes my face up. I'm not trying to get.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about health reasons. I'm talking about the bull crap. You're starving your butt off, and you sit there and go, I just have a water and a piece of lettuce.
Oh, never that. I will eat. Look, if he got
I'm glad.
Food, I do that all the time.
Good. All right. So I'm gonna write this stuff down while you're working on it. Stone is thrown vertically. F of t is equal to negative 5t squared plus 35t. So I've written down all I need. You don't need anything else. There we go. We know it looks like this. We know this is 0, 0, 0. At 0 seconds, it has gone 0 feet in the air. And here is the vertex, which is your highest or lowest point. And this is at blank seconds. You have failed to 0 feet. In other words, you hit the ground. Now, instead of, and yes, you could find it a whole lot easier. You could do trace, the second trace on your calculator and find the x-intercept. But that's not the point. My job here is to review the algebra with y'all because people suck at calculus because they suck at algebra. People don't suck at calculus because they know how to twirl a calculator around like a basketball on their finger. Okay? They suck at calculus because they don't know how to do algebra. So that's my job, to get you to review the algebra. So negative 5t squared plus 35t plus blank is equal to 0 plus blank. And this is completing the square. I got to factor out that negative 5 because you can't do completing the square unless you have a is equal to positive 1. And this is negative 5, so I got to factor it out. Negative 5, that's going to be t squared minus 7t plus blank is equal to 0 plus negative 5 times blank. Now this is going to cause a fraction, which half of y'all will quit because y'all can't read a tape measure because y'all are of the tripod generation. So I'm going to have to ask you to continue on and try to follow along, even though you can't read a ruler. Okay? So -5, that's 7. That's going to be 7 divided by 2 and square it is 49/4. Okay, now I got to go ahead and tell you this. You should know how to do that. Okay, now if you're a little bit cobwebby, completing the square is b divided by 2 and squaring it. That's completing the square. So I take 7 divided by 2 and square it. And that's what you put on the blank. You should know that. So 49/4 right there. And that gives us shortcut number 2. And that's going to be -5 times t minus 7/2 equals, well, that's going to be -49. Let's see, -5 times 50. 5 times 50 is what? 250. That's going to be 250, but you're going to subtract 5. 245. Somebody check my math, please.
That's it.
Now, I guarantee you, Mr. Nicolini and Mr. Pagella, y'all remember doing this in the previous class? Math 109 or 110? Mine?
Yeah, it's been a while, but I remember.
Good. You had a good algebra teacher.
Oh, yeah,
All right.
for sure.
So, whatever. All right. So, our vertex is 7/2 and 245/4. And if you want to change that to mixed numbers at that point, that's fine. I don't care. All right. Now I'm going to continue to solve for x. Solve for x. So I'm going to divide by -5/1, which multiply by -1/5. Now, if you don't remember that from elementary school or junior high, I'm sorry. But whenever you divide by a fraction, you multiply by the reciprocal. And that's going to give us t minus 7/2 quantity squared is equal to, well, that 5 will go into that 245. Let's see, what, 4 times? And that'll leave 45. I get 49. Somebody check my math, please. And take the square root of both. And t minus 7/2 is equal to positive or negative 7/2. And of course, one's going to go out. One's going to cancel, and that's 0. And then the other is going to be 14/2, which is 7. Now I'm going to let y'all look at that for a second and let y'all ponder over it and see if there's anybody that's going, what the hell did you just do? You know, in other words, I know there's somebody out there, but whether that person's got enough gumption to say something, that's another thing. Yes, I'll just have a lemon water, please. So you need to speak up. And I covered it so well that nobody's going to ask any questions. Y'all know y'all are full of it. Okay? Because I know somebody has a question, but you're just not going to ask it. So, okay.
How did you the
Go ahead. What?
How did you get the 7? The 7,0.
Okay, right here. I'm going to bring this over. And that makes positive 7/2. What is negative 7/2 plus 7/2?
0.
0. What is positive 7/2 plus 7/2? That's 14/2. And what is 14/2?
Okay. 7. Gotcha. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. See? Told you there was somebody out there. There's probably about, let's see, how many people we got in here? 23? There's probably about 6 or 7 of y'all that had that same question. But oh, hell no, you're not going to ask it. No, too proud. Rather fail the course than ask a question. Tide Pods. Everybody got it? So somebody take 245 divided by 4, please. I thought we did that. Is it, let's see, 245 divided by 4 is what? 661.25 feet. Somebody help me out. That means I want somebody to punch it in a calculator. Oh my God.
That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you. So at, let's see, what it is, 3.5 seconds, at 3.5 seconds, somebody check me on that. You are at 61.25 feet high. Whatever the units is, I'm not worried about that. So, and then at 7 seconds, it hits the ground. The baseball hits the ground, or whatever they're throwing. Virtual office hours. I don't have virtual office. Oh, that's my calendar going off. Sorry about that. So the domain for this function is, like I said before, bracket 0 to 7. I thought that's what I punched in before. And T and D. Distance is how high the ball is. T is at seconds. All right. If you throw a ball in the air, time predicts what? Height. And I'll tell y'all another interesting thing about time. It is usually dominant. Why is time always dominant?
Usually you can't change.
You can't control it. Although, if you go to a cheerleading competition or a dance recital, which I had to go to a good many of them, there are some moms that try to control time by wearing their daughter's clothes. And it's not pretty. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and warn you about that. Don't go. Don't go, because it's real sad. Okay?
Yeah.
And then you have some guys that cruise the mall at 40. They're trying to control time. They're just perving. But anyway, let's move on. I'm going to leave that one up because that's another class. 1.8. Here's some more up here. 1.113/6. 1.113/6. And this is from the other class, so I'm not going to delete it. And this person says they're going to quit class. So that's good. Let's see what they said. Please show in class or I will quit. Good. And I'm not going to show it. Explain how to find the domain of F composed of G. If you know the domain and range of G, F, and G. Now, this would be a whole lot better if they actually gave you F and G. Okay, it would mean a whole lot more. But let's say that F, let's just say for an example, that F of X is equal to 4X. And G of X, I'll show you this in just a second. G of X is equal to x squared. Okay, so does everybody see this? F of x, I'm just using this as an example. What is the domain? Now remember, domain is affected by radicals and what? And rationals. So if you don't have a radical or a fraction, pretty much the domain is going to be all real numbers and the range is going to be all real numbers unless it's a parabola. Okay? So we don't have any radicals or rationals here. So what's the domain of this function? The domain is all real numbers. So for 4x, the domain is all real numbers. What about x squared?
All real numbers.
All real numbers, good. The range for 4x is equal to all real numbers because a line does not have a bottom to it. But x squared, you have a bottom to it, so it's from 0 to infinity. Now, let's just take f composed of g. F is 4 times parentheses, and you're going to throw x squared up there. And you get 4x squared, and that's f composed of g. Well, the domain is going to be what? All real numbers. So if you get all real numbers and all real numbers, the domain of that function is going to be what? All real numbers. But what if you got this? The range is going to have to take on the range of the x squared function. See what I'm saying? So if the domain of f of x is equal to all real numbers, and the domain of g of x is equal to all real numbers, then what is the domain of any composition of those two functions?
All real numbers.
All real numbers.
Okay, that's why this is better if it's given to you like this versus the way they're doing it. That is not a test question this homework question is not a test question because it's too vague. A student has to have something like that to, okay? All right, so what about the range? Well, the range of a composition function is going to be dependent upon what? In this case, g of x, because g of x has a range. Okay, so the composition of the function is dependent upon the range, is dependent upon the range of either of the functions. I don't know how they're going to put that, but if the range is all real numbers for both of the function, then the range is going to be all real numbers. But if the range is different for one of the functions, then the composition is going to go by the range of that different function. So the range of any composition is going to be negative 0 to infinity. Not a good test question because it's too vague. So the domain of f composed of g consists of all x in the domain of g. The domain of f composed of g consists of all x in the domain of f. Well, both of those are true. So let's go to the top. Identify the x value in the domain of those corresponding ranges. Value domain of g. Identify the x values in the domain of g whose corresponding range values are in the domain. This is a screwed up question, okay? There is no way in Hades I would ever put this question on the test. I have no idea, so I'm just going to put B. I don't know what they're saying, okay? And I was lucky I got it right. identify the x values in the domain, we did, of G, whose corresponding range values are in the domain of F. If you can figure that out, I'll give you that test question. I mean, I will. But that is confusing. So what I would do, what I tell students to do when they give you one of these essay questions, and that don't stand for simple ass, it stands for stupid ass. When they give you one of these essay questions, make sure you copy B down and put it in your notes, because that's the answer. This is not a good test question, so I can understand why somebody sent this one. Okay, so write down, identify the x values in the domain of G whose corresponding range values are in the domain of F. It'd been a whole lot easier if they had just given you two of these and then asked you. Not a good test question, not a good review question. And somebody sent it probably from this class too. What did you think about that one, Mr. Pagella? Did you think it was vague and confusing, or?
I did. I thought it was a stupid question too.
Okay, well, we're going to skip. We're going to go to 16. 16/8. Write that down. 1.1, 16/8. 1.1, 16/8. Let's see if it's a good test question first. What in the world? I've never seen this question before.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
I have no idea what this question is asking. Use the table to evaluate the given compositions. H of G of 2. Say again?
I said that one almost made me mad, but it let me view an example, and I eventually figured it out.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you, Ms. Hightower. I got to view an example too, because I've never seen this question before. H of G of 2. Yeah, I'm going to go back. We're going to come back to this one, because I've never seen it before. We're going to move on. And plus, that's not a test question. I'll get back to it. Let's go with, let's see, I'm looking for anything above 16, and I don't see anything above 16, so we're going to move on to 29. So this question is 1.1, 29. I'm going to put a question mark beside this number 8, because I need to check on that one. I ain't never seen that one. 1.1, 29/11. And it looks like a couple of y'all have sent this one, or a couple of them. First of all, is it a test question? Oh yeah, anytime you see one of these, it's a test question. This is a good review question also. F of x is equal to 4 minus x squared raised to the 5/2 power. I already got it written down for you. There it is. Now, before we start this question, let's go review a little bit about rational exponents. The square root of x to the first power is equal to x to the 1/2. That's what you should remember. Exponent over what? Exponent over index. Exponent over index. Exponent over index. So I'm going to change this, and we're going to look at it. And that's or f of x is equal to exponent over index. That's the square root of 4 minus x squared to the 5th power. Now, you could actually take the square root. So I'm going to show you. Now, I don't know if they want you to do it this way. This is kind of the long way of doing it. F of x is equal to the square root of 4 minus x squared to the 4th power times 4 minus x squared to the 1st power. And the square root of anything to the 4th power is that thing squared. So I can rewrite this as f of x is equal to the square root of the 4th power is 4 minus x squared to the 2nd power times the square root of 4 minus x squared. Now, before we move on, I want to make sure everybody understands what I just did. I took the square root of that 4th power and got this. And then I can't take the square root of the 1st power, so I left that under the radical. Now, what can I plug into this part? I can plug in anything I want to into this, right? Because it's not a radical and it's not a what? It's not a rational. So I can plug in 5. I can plug in -1/2. I can plug in anything. Here, I got to set that denominator equal to 0. 4 minus x squared is equal to 0 because I can't have a square root of a negative number in here. And that's going to give me -x squared is equal to -4. Divide by -1. X squared is equal to 4. X cannot equal positive or -2. So I got to draw a number line. And I put -2 here, +2 here. So let's see what happens when I plug in a -3. I'm going to put -3 in -3. Somebody tell me what happens when I plug in -3 right here. What am I going to get under the radical? When I plug in that -3, what am I going to get under the radical?
-5.
A negative. Can I have a negative under the radical?
No.
So I can't use anything below -2. Let's check 0. Somebody plug in 0. Will 0 work? Will 0 give me a positive or negative?
Positive.
Yay! And let's plug in 4. Somebody plug in, well, let's plug in 5.
It'll give you a negative.
It'll give you a negative. So what's the only numbers we can use?
-2 to 2.
Exactly. Now, that's how you're supposed to find the answer, but I don't know. Sometimes I wonder about the way they do things in this book. So my domain of this function is -2 to +2. Do you have a question, Ms. Martinez? Okay. So let's punch that in and see if we're right. -2 to +2, that should be the answer. Oh, it was the answer. I'm sorry. All right, you do that one. I'll blow it up for the diva, whoever she is, I'll blow it up. There it is. I'll write it down while y'all were writing it. F of x is equal to 16 minus x squared to the 3/2 power exponent over index. So that means the square root of 16 minus x squared to the 3rd power. Now, a lot of people say, well, Hubert, you really don't have to do that because all you need to do is find out what the middle is equal to. Yes, but that neglects going over the review of radicals, of rational exponents. So I'm trying to kill 3 birds with 1 question, okay? I'm trying to get you to review the rational exponents, the taking the square root of something, and also the domain. So I'm trying to, so y'all leave it up to me. I've been doing this longer than a lot of people have. So, all right, so that's going to be the square root of 16 minus x squared to the 2nd power times 16 minus x squared to the 1st power. And of course, that cancels that 2 out. So I can just bring this out front. 16 minus x squared times the square root of this, because I can't take the square root of a 1st power. So that is called a simplified radical expression. I just simplified it to this. And now we're going to set that equal to 0. 16 minus x squared is equal to 0. Negative x squared is equal to negative 16. X squared is equal to 16. X is equal to positive or negative 4. That's my alarm going off. Oh my gosh. Go away. All right, so negative 5 will give us a negative. Negative 5 will give us negatives. Can't have a negative. 0 will give you a nice positive. And 5 will give you another negative. So the only possible answers you can have in this problem are between negative 4 and 4. Now, I guarantee you there's somebody out there that forgot this. But of course, you're not going to say anything. Negative 4, comma, positive 4, bracket. Darn. Did I not do it correctly?
Yeah, you didn't put a comma in between. It's a period.
That's a period. I suck. There we go. Now, we only went over 3 or 4 problems today, but we did a couple extra. Now, the only one that I did not see as a test question was that stupid question with the table, and that stupid question with a paragraph was asking you a bunch of gx and f of x. So the rest of the problems were good test questions. Let me move over to the handy dandy. Let me turn off the recording. And I did stop class early because I got to see if any